Send it, Good morning, everybody. Morning. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today asking you to watch over this meeting of our commissioners, watch over all the people of this county as they go about their lives throughout this week. In Jesus' name, amen. Just got an email from Kevin. He cannot make it today. He's got other meetings. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from last week.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been moving, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make motion, we approve the claims in the amount of $598,344.50.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got the sheriff's monthly fee report.
So we have the end of the month report for sheriff for September. What it is it's just items that we've collected monies on, which would be Wyandotte inmate payment, U.S. Marshal Transportation, State of Kansas inmate housing, U.S. Marshal inmate housing, Social Security, no bill reimbursement, civil service out-of-state fees, civil service in-state fees, fee reports, fingerprinting fees, conceal and carry, offender fees, and VIN fees, for a total of $156,370.49. I make a motion that we accept this.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
And I have the park report for September. I've got some copies here. You guys need any of them?
So for the Linn County Park, the year-to-date report is for the receipts for the month of September. We have $35,897.90, and our expenditures for September was $23,129.34, for a gain of $12,768.56.
And then the sheriff's report on prisoners. That, you wanna read through them?
So the sheriff's report, he can make it. Total prisoners, 54, 16 released this past week. 0 farmed in or farmed out, 38 farmed in, 69 911 calls, 4,293 jail contacts, 482 calls for service, civil service papers served 9, VIN inspection 0, new cases open 9, cases closed 4. There were 5 vehicle crashes. SRO activities was 90. Bailiff contacts was 161, and there was 9 livestock out. Current daily income for the jail housing is $2,934.
All right, I also had email from Randy that he's tied up this morning and can't be here, but I've got a copy of his report.
Got it on my computer.
The call summary report for the fire department. Is this a year to date?
Yes.
Would be,
They had 12 incidents for the week on this front page.
Maybe that's it.
oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry about that. I thought there's all the same.
Yeah, for the, this week, they had 12 incidents. 4 of them were medical assist, off-road vehicle, heavy equipment fire, they had 2, gas leak 1, public service 1. And there was a no incident found on arrival at dispatch. That's pretty much it. And then year to date is 352 incidents. David, you got anything else right off the bat?
Just to comment on a couple of things I sent out to you, some this weekend and some today. I have the forms for K-Camp and KAC for voting delegates for the meetings coming up in December. We don't need to take any action yet today. I still will get one from K-Work at some point before long, so we can just do them all at once if you want to. But just something to be thinking about on who you want to be the voting delegate and the alternates for those meetings. And the KAC meeting is in December in Wichita. So I know I'll be there and we'll have our annual K-Camp meetings. I have to be there for that anyway, but you guys want to think about that and whoever you want to appoint to be voting delegates. But we've got a little time to get that.
Okay.
Did you say that was in December?
Yeah.
What all you had? Any more?
Good morning, Louis Saloy. I'm our operations supervisor. Galen doesn't do Tuesdays. So monthly and weekly. Today. So do a weekly real quick. Busy week, which is going to proceed to the busy month we had. We did 43 transports in 7 days, 43 calls with 19 transports. Update on what's going on right now. We have new radios going in, get us ready for the transition over to our AMR dispatching. We've done a lot of legwork to make sure it's pretty smooth. We're going to be leaving Linn County, but still going to need them to contact with our sheriffs and our firefighters and stuff like that. But it should reduce a lot of the call volume to Linn County dispatch, which is good. For the first time in I think about 3 years, we're fully staffed.
Good job.
We stole one of ours from down here. If you guys didn't hear, Larry Maloney was with the sheriff's department. He was a paramedic, and he's coming to us full time. So he started his training. I think he's done up in Johnson County. He'll be coming down here, and it'll be pretty intensive because he's a pretty new guy to the field. But we have lots of good training officers, and we're not going to rush his training at all because he is our last open spot. So it's been about 3 years. Danny, right? How long have I been complaining about this? So excellent. Month to date for not month to date, but September's calls. They were absolutely rocking. Probably one of our busier months ever. We ran 154 calls for service with 74 transports. Of those, if you look down into the response zones, it looks like a very well set up response zone when your volumes are 49 calls out of District 1, 53 out of District 2, and 57 out of District 3, with the transports being in the average of 23. So our stations look like they are sitting in the right spot when you look at those numbers. Average response time, now keep in mind this is a rural response time. We were under 1445 for the entire county, which is fantastic. Rural EMS is usually in the 20-minute range. So that's really fantastic.
That's what it is up in the city?
Oh, no, the city is 10 to Back in the day, before there were such shortages with ambulance and fire trucks, our goal was 4 to 8 minutes. But even the response times in the cities now is jumping from like 6 to 12 because we just don't have the paramedics and firefighters anymore. Everyone is always short-staffed. It's the new thing. Helicopter transports, we had 5 last month, 3 strokes, a trauma, and then a general medical. And then running down the calls per district, you can see that Blue Mountain, we had 12, Centerville 6, Lacine 29. I don't know what Lane is at 2. Linn Valley was 19, Mountain City 27, Parker was 17, but I bet you about 3/4 of them were at one address. Pleasanton 36, Prescott 5. So busy month, started with a busy week, and then we've already we're on 3 calls right now. So busy morning. Questions?
I don't have any.
But with how busy it is, I don't think we've lost 2 or 3 calls to other agencies. We just happen to be in the right places to put it all together where our ambulances transport our customers, which is really something I really pride myself in because we can keep our eye on the level of care when it's us. When it's others, it's like, well, I hope they did great, but can't say anything if they didn't. Maybe call their bosses and we don't hear about those. But all the calls we go on, we follow up, make sure everyone's being well taken care of and everyone's happy.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Justin?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I have a couple of things for you this morning. First of all, the Garnett Airport finished getting the fuel out of the fuel tank at the airport last week. The total amount was 3,120 gallons. So the check will be $6,241.12. We need to designate an alternate for the STARS board. We are now meeting once per quarter on the 3rd Monday of the first month in the quarter. So we're meeting January, April, July, and October. I think those are the first ones. And we are, each organization is designating an alternate for their board member. So if one of you would like to sit as the alternate, that would be great. Sean has also said that he is available to do that if none of you are able. And that would just be if I'm unable to attend the meeting that quarter, then you would step in on behalf of the county.
I'm good with, I'm good with Sean if he's wanting to do it, or if one of you guys want to do it.
I would rather have Sean on there.
You good with that? Thank you.
I think we need a motion to appoint him as the alternate, if you don't mind.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Sean as the alternate for the STARS program board.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. What are we doing with the tank out there? Do we have any plans for it? I mean, is it?
The airport committee is supposed to come in next week.
Set? Will they rust in the inside?
I can eventually, I think.
The airport committee is supposed to come in next week and discuss possible options for the future of the airport. They'll be here at 11 o'clock. I've heard from one that said he can come, one that says he can possibly come. So we're going to try to reschedule for next week. The other thing I have this morning is for the CDBG grant that we were awarded for the STARS program. We are purchasing 2 desktop simulators for their program for their heavy equipment. They were quoted at $20,000 a piece, so $40,000 for the 2 of them, and then for hardware another $7,500 to get them all hooked up and integrated into the system. For the grant, the STARS program has to follow the county procurement policy that triggers going out for bid for those products. The problem is, well, I don't know that it's a problem. The issue is that they only want the CAT simulators that match what they have. If they go out for bid and purchase another kind of simulator, it's going to throw off their whole program. There's only one vendor that sells the CAT simulator that they have. So they really have no need to go out for bid for their program. So in order to not have to go out to bid, we have to submit a letter to the CDBG board requesting that we not be required to go out for bid and explaining the situation. Since the county is the grant awardee, the county has to submit the letter. The Regional Planning Commission has put the letter together. I just received it yesterday. I have it here. I can read it if you'd like. I can hand you each a copy. We can talk about it next week if you want to. We can just sign it if you want to. Basically, it's explaining the issue, saying that these specific simulators are what the program needs to continue in the way that the program has done, and the only vendor is Simformation. They are the exclusive distributor of these CAT simulators. So they're requesting that the CDBG board waive the requirement for us to go out to bid for these simulators.
We're only doing that because we applied for the grant, right?
Yes.
We don't really anticipate have to have anything to do with any of that part of it afterwards, right? I mean, we didn't plan on that.
No, right. This was part of the plan. We knew that this would happen we anticipated this when we applied for the grant. Yes.
I'm okay with it. I'd make them, what kind of motion would that be? Just allow them to, or submit the letter to,
Sign the
To
letter.
have you sign the letter requesting to submit this as a single source.
you guys can make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we allow Danny to sign the letter as chairman for the single source on the simulators for the STARS program.
Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Just right here.
You get me a copy.
That is all I have for you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Morning, Commissioners. Sean West, Public Works. From last week's meeting, I did not get these in time to send them out electronically, but I do have the mowing reports for both districts. Short explanation for these that I got from the supervisors is you'll see that the South District in the last 2 weeks compared to the North District has done a lot less mowing. The South District, prior to this report, had put out 3 mowers, completed a lot of their mowing, and then used, in the last couple of weeks, used one of our new employees to do all the spot mowing, trying to clean up the spots that they didn't get the weeks before. The North District, as you see, is now moving manpower over to mowing and trying to complete a lot of the tasks that they were unable to get to.
I think we still have a lot in the South District that needs moved yet.
I believe so, and I'll track it with Dennis because he's got that one mower that we are keeping consistently out there until we start the CDL programs for our new hires. So I believe the intention is to keep the personnel out on task until we complete those items and then move them into their CDL training. We've been fairly productive with the CDL program and getting those people in and couple of months and getting that done. So we're pretty confident that we're going to make the 6-month goal for the CDLs, even if we use those personnel to mow until later in the year.
What about our part-time? When do we let them guys go? Our part-time mowers? Or something?
They go up to 1,000 hours a year. Some of them will already have gone back to their normal jobs. And then some of them will stay on until they get closer to that 1,000 hours or we complete our task in the mowing. So to answer that, they'll drop off at different times depending on their schedule or ours.
Well, how many do we have right now on, dude? Part-timers that are mowing?
Believe we have one that I know out of the North District, possibly another I'd have to check, but I do know we still have one in the North District, one that went back to other employment with the schools, and I'd have to check if we have any other part-timers in that district. I know we don't have in the South.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, the south compared to the north, that's crazy. The hours.
I think if you look at the 2 weeks prior to that, you'll see almost similar disparity in the reverse. So
Well, just like here, we see lots of hours to 3 to 4 hours in the day. There's not any full days, I don't believe.
Not in the south.
Huh?
Not in the south. I don't see any.
I
I
don't
don't
think
see any in the north either.
I see 1 7.5 hour day.
Well, do they just put them on the mowers whenever they got extra time, or how's that work?
So they could have done multiple locations in one day.
that's correct. They could go from one location, then the next location, depending on where they're spot mowing. As far as how much they're used, unless they have other projects, I know the part-timers and the new employee have been placed on those pretty consistently, but I can't answer to what projects they'd have daily or what was going on in the shops.
Okay.
Had a request by AMR in Pleasanton for some time now. I believe we have been inadvertently using a commercial dumpster that didn't belong to us. There's 2 dumpsters in the area. One's a private business and one's the city's for the new community building. It's an oversight on our part. We need to, I think, pick up a dumpster, a 2-yard. I'm being told that there's a lot of deliveries and boxes there to that location. And I've talked to the city, and there is a triangular parking area out front of that building to the east of it that we could place a dumpster if you're willing to. I think David can tell you how we worked out the one for the health department.
Yeah, who are we paying on that? Is that East Central Kansas or?
I believe it is.
Is that, looks like we're at $66 a month for that service from them. So we're renting a container from them and they're picking it up for that price.
Okay.
Did we rent containers over here? Or did we buy them? I can't remember. I know that was talked about one time. Didn't we buy some?
We bought them for the park
Oh, it's for
and
the-
had them manufactured and brought them up. I believe they were manufactured out of Oklahoma, but we bought those in the park and had them manufactured and paid for the service. The 2 yards, I can check on having one manufactured, but I think since it's going to be in an island area, it's not boxed in and out of our control. I think renting one might be even more feasible because if it was for whatever reason damaged or unserviceable, it wouldn't be our responsibility.
I'm good with it.
Me too.
I have had contact with a Travis Myrick, does HVAC. He brought to my attention that in the past, he's been requested to look at the updates needed for the courthouse.
I've talked to him twice about that, and I've also talked to him about the maintenance, talking about trying to get a maintenance program put together, but I've just been too busy. I haven't been able to give him the time, so I gave him your number. I forgot to tell you, sorry.
Those are the two items that he's brought to my attention. The one at the courthouse, this is going to take engineering. He has an engineer available.
Didn't we have another contractor give us some engineering already, or no?
Problem is they went through the engineering and the connection or requirements with the Historical Society of the Nature, I think was the issue of not getting a complete bid out of them about how we'd have to hide and what work we'd have to do, the units outside, the hose connections. So what I'm getting from Travis is he's got an engineer willing to do it, look at it at no cost to us, but you'd have to understand this is going to be quite a bit of work. There's going to be quite a bit of investment on their time. If it's a project that we do not see completing, he'd rather not do the work. But if it's a project that we still see as viable, he's more than willing to have the engineer look at the building and assess the building for this need.
Do we not get any tax credits or anything for that from the Historic Society?
Because we don't pay taxes.
I know, but if it back in '76 or whenever it was put on the registry, if you keep it looking like that, that's how you get your tax credit. It's a lot of paperwork, but
We've never received anything. I think the only thing we could do if we did would then we would have to sell the tax credits to someone so they could use them, but
there's a lot of,
And this is a maintenance plan for the boilers.
No, the first thing that we're talking about is whether or not he would send an engineer to assess the heat and air at the old courthouse. And that would take an engineer to design and construct the plan for that. The second is a mechanical contract for preventative maintenance at all of our locations throughout the county.
which he does for the sheriff's department right now. And it sounds like it goes pretty good. I've kind of kept up on the emails, but
If these are things that you'd like to do, I can contact him on the engineer. Again, that's going to be a considerable amount of work. If it's something that we're not interested in completing, he'd rather not put the engineer through the paces on it. The other for the contract for the servicing and maintenance of all of our equipment throughout the county, I believe you may have to go out to bid for, with multiple contractors being available to do that in our area.
I think at the courthouse, we spent, what, 50,000-60,000 on that boiler the last 4 years. And then we have individual units or window units running each office throughout the courthouse, right, David? Is that each office has their own air conditioner?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
If it,
ran on knob or tube knob wiring?
I know it won't factor in on the total price of this, but later on my agenda, I did have the boiler mentioned. I received a call last week after our meeting. Our former maintenance supervisor contacted me, advised me that there was a pump system in storage in the basement of the courthouse for that boiler unit, told me where to find it. That was one of two pumps. It happened to be the right pump. We cleaned it up, took it down, had it benched and tested, and the total savings on the item would be $1,758 from the projected bill to replace the pump. We're going to pay for the trip charge and the hours only because the pump we have.
Okay.
It was 3,000 and something.
That's ballpark, yes. So half or more of the charge, because Rick had called in and told me what to look for and where to find it. We were able to save that charge because he had one shelf stocked.
Good deal.
I mean, I would like to see us try to, look at some HVAC options for the courthouse. It's going to have to be done one day. But there's also preservations companies that will come down here and help us with that kind of stuff too. There's a few in Kansas City. One that I work with all the time is called Rosin, and they'll get us straight on all the historic tax credits and stuff like that we could hopefully or maybe utilize to redo whatever we needed over there. I think it would take probably a full-time person to do it. It's a lot of paperwork, but I think it's definitely worth it, or look into it at least. Well, my ultimate goal is we're gonna have to maintain that courthouse, so I know we have humidity and moisture problems between the basement and the first floor where there's actually, the floor is starting to rot and David, you have some input on the air and the heat over there?
It's hard to keep it at a comfortable temperature in most of the rooms, and with the heat, they are typically freezing upstairs and we're cooking downstairs.
Yeah.
And
But that won't be such an issue when we move them off the
no,
floor.
but I think we'll still have to have some up there just to keep the building
Correct.
stable temperatures. But no, the fact that it would be cooler up there wouldn't be a problem then.
I think we need to keep the temperatures consistent. It's like in the basement we have, it's real hot down there, and then on the first floor, temperature changing, it creates a lot of moisture, and I know the floor is rotting out in a few spots, right?
Yeah, we've got spots there in my room where you can see through the floor in two places that we haven't apparently been able to find the right type of flooring to put back in there yet, but some stuff that needs to be repaired. And then the air, it's just window units everywhere, and they're, of course, loud and makes it hard to hear in the office a lot of the time when they're running.
Okay.
I'm for it. Look into it. Maybe get a plan together. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, but I think it's definitely important that we do
So this is going to get us our cost estimates on what we're going to have to do, and
It would be an engineering plan. My understanding is a design on
So-
what we would need to,
so if we get the design, we still are going to have to put it out for bid, correct?
if you get the design, then that would be up to you whether or not it would be, my understanding, this company is a single source on their design, because the engineer is being contracted through this company, or you put it out to bid.
We're talking, this is going to be a large project,
Yes.
correct?
I think you probably have to bid it, because even, even if you hired an independent engineer to design it, what you're gonna end up with is a design. And then
That's correct.
I don't think
Once we get the design, then we have to go through the historical society to make sure.
I'm not sure about that. I've not worked with them.
I don't know.
Not necessarily, not if you don't, if you're not receiving any tax credits for it, you don't have to.
We can do whatever
You
we
can do
want.
whatever you want, but you'll never be able to receive tax credits unless I think it's whatever it looked like in 76 or whatever that year of 78, whenever it was put on the registry. I think the rule of thumb is that it's gonna look like it did the day it was put on the registry. So I think so. I can check into that too.
When was that ramp built back there?
The what?
When was that ramp built back there? It was built after that, I think.
I don't know.
After 76 or something.
So we might not.
I don't know.
Might not be eligible. I don't know. So we'd have to hire what did you say? Say that one more time.
I said, if this company's engineer designs the plan, then you would still need to go out for bids on the work. I don't think you could, justify them as the sole source just because they provided the engineer.
Right.
As long as there are other companies who can do the whole job.
But, John, you don't have time to go through it 7 different times with an in-house engineer with each company though, right?
No, and don't have the expertise on the building or the project to manage this. This would definitely be something we'd have to outsource.
I'll get in contact with Rosin again, and I think Jessica, I think we've emailed him a few times, but I don't know if did we ever not, I don't think we ever heard much back, did we? I'll call him direct. I'm actually doing a project with him right now, so I might be able to do something, so. I'll work with you on that.
Okay,
So we'll hold off for now, but keep working toward trying to
what do you
something
want to,
figured out.
what do you want to do with the other question is the service and maintenance? Do you want us to develop a list of those places about the county to project that out and get a cost estimate on it? Or do you want me to hold off on it as well?
I would like to see that. I've been pushed for it. I think I got Travis some maps from Pam that she laid out each building where the unit was and stuff for him. So it's kind of, he's got a little bit of info.
But that's once again something that we're going to have to open up for bid, correct?
That's correct.
So
I'm talking about building the project for the bid and bringing it back to you.
I would
And
be
just
in favor of that.
getting a hard list together and a bid that we can send out. And so we'll work on that. The thumbs are on the first X, and they're switching them out today to get the second one placed on. I did have a question for you as far as interviews. I'm getting applications already for the foreman's position. When I set those up, is that something that I need to set up for all of you to be present as well?
I don't think we need to be.
I'll schedule it however you want me to schedule it.
What do you think?
I don't think it hurt Chris to sit in on it myself.
We did the last few.
You can think about it and I can come back to you when I have a hard date, or we've finished up collecting the applications. I just, at some point before I start scheduling those, I'll need an answer and I can come back to you next week or the week after and we can work on it.
I would like, before we hire somebody or make that decision, I'd like to sit down with the current one we have. He's the only one, right?
Well, we have an asphalt foreman, we have a road foreman.
But I think we should go over what our expectations are and duties and have an understanding for what they do every day. And because I don't think that we're all on the same page on that. And I think that's important to do before we have an applicant or before we do interviews. What do you guys think?
I'm okay with that.
Foremans are getting with the contractor and working towards the lagoon project, which is coming up very quickly at the park. I've already told you about the boiler motor, Pleasanton Senior Center. In the old senior center, there are a lot of items that I don't really need direction on. There's a lot of junk storage items in rooms surrounding the main rooms used by the seniors. But there's also items that belong to us from the old implementation of the program, such as plastic trays or coolers that the meals were delivered in and tray racks that they sit in. These items may be of value to some commercial type operation, but they're not of any value from my discussion with the sheriff to his operation. I will, before I move the items out, still have his staff come through and look to see what would be of any value before we get rid of it. But I did need some direction because of the timelines we've got. There are old freezers, refrigerators, and old service items from that food service that's no longer there, that
So-
quite
That
frankly,
we used before the area on aging, before Mid-America Nutrition.
that's correct. Quite frankly, those items are either very dated or some of the freezers and stuff were just replaced and stuffed in a back room.
Okay, so it's junk.
So I'm advising you that there may be items that could be of some value if we had time to move them 3 times and have an auction, but you're not going to make your money back on what it's going to cost to move them. And I'm just making you aware of the fact that we're probably going to have to get a couple roll-offs over there to clean that building out and get these items out of there. At the very best, most of them will be transported and put in a scrap program through solid waste.
What date do we close on that? What, 20 days or so?
There was no definitive close date in the documents that I had.
5 days, it said, from whenever we signed the, but did you take a look at that contract? I thought he said, the buyer said we can leave those refrigerators and stuff. Did I
I
agree
mean, I
with
think
that?
it's his, he has a,
I thought it said something about we could leave what we didn't want or something.
talk to him,
You might check that contract.
Brandon, or?
I don't have a copy
I
of it.
recall that as well.
I'll check it again and then meet with you about it beforehand, but any items that we could leave in the building that wouldn't cost us manpower or fuel to haul, we're going to be ahead on that part of it anyway.
Okay.
I have transportation run under a grant each year. Joyce goes through and refiles all of our paperwork. I have a letter of support for that program that needs to be signed by all 3 commissioners. It's similar to every other year. I think the program, from what I'm seeing, is the total program is $237,000 for 2024. I can't tell you what's match and what's federal funds, but this fund and program provides the transportation for our seniors and other public transportation throughout the county into other areas. And in order to apply again this year, she needs a letter of support from the commission.
I move that we sign the letter of support for the Linn County General Public Transportation Program.
I'll second. Motion been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
So if there's only one person that rides that bus and they get it all the way to Kansas City, can we get a car, or how does that work? Like, instead of a bus? Or do we,
The next vehicle that we have ordered is a wheelchair accessible van that should be here in the very near future, that will be a small passenger van, but have wheelchair accessibility and will be much more efficient in the transportation of 1 to 2 occupants for a distance. I need 5 minutes for legal, and that is the last thing I had for you, commissioners.
what's the, what'd you say the date was on the elderly center there in Pleasanton? Have they started the construction of the bathroom?
They have been working on demolition on the walls, the flooring, and some other areas. I've also had our maintenance over there doing some exterior patching and some other work to help keep the project moving. They have taken time for homecoming, some other things, but I understand they're back there today using a mechanical method to strip out the rest of the flooring. They went from a tile surface to a flat concrete where things got a little difficult, and they were going to use a mechanical method to remove that, and then probably start on the flooring in the very near future. And then the bathroom, we've also had our staff order in the counters, the dishwasher, and the other items for the kitchen area. So we're we're still moving on the project as far as a date of completion, because we're doing some of the work, they're doing some of the work. I can't give that to you, but as we get closer and we know what's going on, I'll try to keep you updated.
I mean, in the meantime, should we set up a location for if we close on that building, they can go to eat?
So, the area on aging said that they would work with us in any way we wanted to, whether it be go to home delivery for a couple of weeks only until we got the new site. They thought that would be the easiest transition. So instead of moving a temporary site and doing something that way,
Would we have to pull that restaurant license for the temporary spot?
I think so. And I think that's why they were saying that we would be better off to go to home delivery
I'd also.
for a few weeks while we are getting things finished up.
And it may also, that method may also allow us not to move some of the facilities more than once. We'd go straight to the building. I think if we have to, that is our best path forward. But as I said, when we get a little closer and I can give you a better estimate of what's going on, I do think there's not going to be a possibility that we're going to hit this on the head and close this out. It's a big project as far as using two different sources of labor. So I'll keep you updated, but I do think we're going to have some disruption. I just don't know how much.
So do we want to go ahead and just decide on the delivery? I mean, what do we need to do? Do we need to find volunteers? I mean, how,
So they're already doing home delivery.
and did they just bring it to a site and then they distribute it from there?
Correct. We would probably need to just allocate that site, say, here's where you need to deliver the meals to, and change it with our group that is delivering meals. And our meal counts will change based off of the additional people that have been coming for the congregate meals. But I mean, they're still paying, the area on aging is still paying their site manager to work over there as well.
And then I already have somebody that's delivering them. Their lot will just be bigger
For a few weeks.
for a few
Do they get to the route delivery? Do they get paid or is it all volunteer?
Volunteers. In Lacey, it's the local churches. They rotate through and deliver door to door.
If you'd like, I can work on a plan with our staff and the seniors as far as a alternate pickup site. If we have to go to that method and come back to you next week on that.
Yeah.
That way we have some options and know what the logistics would look like.
Sounds good.
Be good for me.
Anything else for me?
I don't have anything, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris and Amanda. Sean, we're going to do them and then come back and do your legal. Is that okay? Sean or Chris, Amanda?
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Snyder, Linn County Health Department. Just a really quick update from last week. We provided services to 106 clients last week, and we gave 90 shots between Friday and Saturday. We're at Linn Valley today. We'll be at the Blue Mound Senior Site and Centerville Senior Site on Thursday. We will be providing shots to county employees on Thursday as well from 3 to 5, and Friday again from 7 to 4. And then I was just going to offer up, if you needed a site for meals to be picked up or dropped off, I'm sure we could do that at the health department if the logistics worked.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, the other thing I have, it was kind of brought to my attention that we do not have a panic button, emergency button at the health department. And I thought that should be something that we should have. I talked to Chris about it just to see what the cost would be or how we would go about getting that implemented. And he has all the specifics, but as far as money, that's something that my expanding infrastructure grant can cover. But I have to have your permission because it's above my spending authority.
How many of the buttons do we have throughout? I mean, do we have one in each department in the county?
About every desk, not in the county, but in this area. So here in the annex, over in the old courthouse, originally there was several in the old sheriff's office and in the old district court. Of course, depending on what happens with those buildings, they'll stay there.
Do you have this set up for 10 buttons there? Is what-
At the health department, yes.
The total cost was the 5,890 plus the 645.
Yes,
the-
correct.
645.82.
Yep, for a total of $6,535.82.
And they won't have any problem with us using those grant funds?
Nope.
Okay. I think it's a good option.
I don't even know where it's at. Where's it? Which one is it?
That's the, the receiver and then the next one. There you go.
This is the same company that set up these ones?
Correct. This is just an add-on to our existing system.
Is there any maintenance fees on it? I mean,
Nope.
or
This is a
warranty?
one-time cost. And since we're familiar with it, it's saving us, there would be an additional 2,000 for them to come install it, but we can handle that ourselves in-house.
Oh, okay.
How often is there an update on it?
There isn't.
There never is.
There's no software involved. It's a radio technology that the buttons use to communicate to the receiver. And then there's I call it the brain, but it's the main unit that actually sits in the old courthouse. And whenever a button is pressed, two things happen. One is a pop-up window on both dispatch consoles comes up saying what button was pressed and where. And a radio message is played over the air, which is kind of the special part of this system that says, like, let's say for the health department, it's a law enforcement emergency at the health department. So anybody that has a radio that's listening can hear that and immediately start responding.
So there's no software upgrade or nothing?
Nope.
Yeah, I think it's important to have one of the health department.
Do you need a motion?
Just to, allow me to purchase.
I move that we allow the health department to do their radio upgrades out of their expanding infrastructure grants.
I'll second. Motion been moved second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bruce.
Mind if I give you a quick update on our things? Okay, so our radio project for the county, the 4 sites, all of the radios have actually been delivered. We didn't expect them to be here until January. So everything has been delivered, all the tower site equipment, we've started setting the enclosures at the tower sites. They're actually all done. We've talked to the tower company and their schedule looks like middle of November. So they're going to be here to take down the old sheriff tower over here and install all of our listener site backhaul equipment. Should be the middle of November. The second thing, I have a request for permission. Now that we've been in the Justice Center for a year, I've talked to the other departments that are in the building, and we would like to put up some Christmas decorations on the front of the building this year, Christmas lights and things like that.
Doesn't the appraiser have that in the budget to do?
That's for the old courthouse,
Oh, okay, you're talking about over there.
this right here for the Justice Center. Yeah. Would that be all right if we did that?
I don't have a problem. Who'll do it?
What's that?
Who'll do it?
Primarily myself and probably maintenance and anybody else that's willing to help. But
You're not gonna jump off of a ladder, are you?
not jump. However, we have a nice bucket truck that works out well for us. So I would anticipate using that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sean needed 5 minutes legal.
Danny, I got something I want to run over with you guys if I can before that. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week and other times, Mr. Johnson has alleged that many of the problems that the county has are my fault. I've been thinking about that, and I just want to address the commission about that. I disagree with him, and in fact, I would go so far as to say that a number of the current problems we have are because Mr. Johnson repeatedly doesn't have a willingness or an ability to treat employees or other commissioners with respect, and I think that's a big problem. That being said, since it's been expressed as I'm the problem, I want to get a sense of whether that is the feeling of the commission. Because if it is, I shouldn't be representing you. Not just that it's awkward, but I really ethically shouldn't represent you if I don't have your confidence. So what I'm going to do today is offer my resignation to you. You can accept it or reject it as you see fit. If you accept it, I'll give you whatever reasonable notice you think is needed to work through a transition to a new council. If you reject it, I'll continue to try to do my best for the county for as long as I can. But I want to make it known that I don't accept the aspersions and accusations that I've seen in recent weeks without responding. So it's up to the board to do what you want to do. Either way, we'll go away with no further hard feelings than are in place at this point. And I'll continue to try to serve the community however I can. So that's my statement.
We'll let it soak in and we'll go to executive session. We can talk about it before the end of the meeting. Are you good with that?
Sure. I'm not, the only time I'd like you to ask today, one way or another.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session with Sean.
I want 15 minutes legal. Executive session, I request 15 minutes.
Go in with Sean for 5 minutes legal, and then we'll go in with Jim for 15 minutes.
So 20 total?
Yep. That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion to do second, all in favor?
Aye. No action?
No action, I think.
Gary, I got a question about, I reached out to you last week and on the, Attorney General,
Yeah,
and then you said that you reached out to the ethics.
sent them a letter.
You sent them a letter.
Then I sent them another letter in September.
The one you sent in, June, the email, that's not a valid email address.
That's the one I got off their website.
It isn't the one on the website, because the one, it's got an underscore in it. I reached out to it the next morning after you sent that, and I sent an email to the address that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a response back just within a few minutes that that isn't a valid email. And that's what I got. And I have talked to ethics, and ethics hadn't received anything from you yet last week.
Reason I sent them another letter, because I got thinking they may not have.
Well, but I'm just saying, I sent an email to the email that you have on there, and that's not valid. It wasn't valid to me.
That explains why they didn't get it then.
Okay. It is not a valid email address. You sent it in June. And here it is, October. Did you mail the second one, I guess? Or is that,
Yeah, I mailed the second.
okay. That's all I got.
That wasn't action in executive session. That was a personal question, so. There was no action. Let's see.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we do not accept Gary Thompson's letter of resignation.
I'll second. Motion to move in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. We're gonna open it up for public comment for 10 minutes if you guys want. Let you come up here to the podium, say your name and state the reason you're here. We'll go from there. So if anybody wants to come up there and talk, please do so now. Public comment. No,
Oh.
yeah, it's a public comment. Anybody?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Walker, and I just was on the solar farms that we have been discussing. My question is are you guys going to decide on the date, or is that the planning and zoning that are going to decide on the date as far as when that public forum was going to be?
I believe it'll be planning and zoning deciding on that. Because
Okay.
they're going to be the ones hearing it,
Okay.
right? Is that correct, guys?
That's what I thought too. I thought you guys, come up, Richard. Yeah, you can talk about it.
Rich Morrell, I'm the chair of the Planning and Zoning Committee. We've been working kind of behind the scenes, and what we're going to propose tonight is to have a meeting where we can allow the people who have questions about that to talk at our November 14th meeting. So we need to run that by the board, obviously, and they have to vote on it, but that's kind of what we're going to propose.
Okay.
Questions?
I don't have any.
Do you guys have any, you said you have a meeting tonight, right?
We do have a meeting tonight, and that's where we'll talk about having the November 14th as the meeting to have the public comments.
Anybody else? Looks like we have Teresa Miller on the schedule next.
Good morning, gentlemen. Teresa Miller, Pleasanton, Kansas, and also the Linn County Historical Society and Museum. I'm going to bring up the good news first. I have three things to talk about. It has been my concern for many years about this county. We will be here 27 years. And there's a feeling of negativity. And all you have to do is watch the commissioners' meetings every week and see who comes and gripes about what or who comes and brings good news about what. And unfortunately, the bad news way outweighs the good news. And all parties are elected by a majority, which used to be the way our country works. Sometimes I feel like I live in Washington, D.C., because all I hear is the bad stuff. And all we talk about is the bad stuff, when there's so many good things going on in this county, one of which is that right over there. Now, I don't agree with the way that it was built and the decisions that were made the whole time, but that's okay. It's turned out to be one of the best things Linn County has decided to do. It's giving us some hope for the future, instead of some people who say, well, as soon as KCP&L or Evergy, whatever you want to call them, as soon as they're gone, we're dead. Well, that's a very bad attitude. We can't think like that. Anyway, I came across this in the museum, and I have no idea how old it is because it doesn't have a date on it. It just was something that I assume was an advertisement. It has area codes and so forth on it. And I looked at this and I thought, this is awesome. And this is what's on the trucks. And I know when she first started, our public relations gal and bringing businesses in here, she talked about a new logo for Linn County. Well, we had a fabulous logo. And what got me to thinking about it is I just purchased and had done through Jackie, her company, 2 new big 4x8 signs, one of which is going on the highway. Okay, 4 feet by 8 feet.
Very nice.
This is going just about 400 yards in front of the Pleasanton one with the motorcycle still on it. No comment. And then when you get off the highway on the exit, now this has the wrong direction, but the sign, which is already done at Jackie's office, has the correct direction. Kind of in front of Brandon's office or Dollar General, whatever you want to call it, there'll be another directional sign, again, 4 feet by 8 feet, directing people down that street to where the museum is. Anyway, the whole bottom line is both of those signs, and they are gorgeous. I mean, they're beautiful, very bright, white background, exactly like this. They were less than $400. And what I would like to see is some pride in our county and some more positive attitudes. I'm not accusing anybody in particular to speak of, but we do need, and I feel like it's our commissioners' jobs, our leaders who have all been elected, to get a good attitude about Linn County. Now, the pipeline came through here. That's a good thing for us. There was a lot of people that didn't like it, but it brings money in for Linn County, just pretty much the way all counties work, you know, especially when we don't have a lot of available workers in this county. And it's not my opinion. This is the general opinion of people that own businesses. Anyway, I found this sign, and I don't know that we need the lines on there, and the sword is really cool. You can't see it because they've put it real close to County, Kansas. I think it would be neat for the sword to be a little bit lower, and it would say the American Heritage of History and Beauty, Linn County, Kansas. And I think it would be wonderful to do the same thing. We have little green signs that say Linn County, and that's it. And I think we should do one on the south area, coming from the south, and the north area coming from the north. If nothing else, just to bring attention to the fact that you're in Linn County. And the reason Linn County is different, I, as someone who wasn't born here, can attest to this. The hills and the green and the water, it's beautiful. And I think we totally ignore that, or we don't want them to come. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I don't think that should be the case. This is a beautiful area, and the discussion that's taking place right now and I won't say arguing, but it is arguing sort of, everybody giving their opinion on the solar. And I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, except that it upsets me a little bit when the public puts tons and tons of dramatic information out, kind of like Washington does, about the pandemic. They had producers producing news shows, commercials, and there's evidence for this now. It's not even hearsay. The evidence is out through public knowledge. You know, you have to wait a while to get all the bad information that they don't want out. The producers made sure that all the commercials and all the news channels and all the informational commercials, everybody had a mask on. So what I'm trying to get at, this is all psychological. Instead of facts, it's all drama and intellectual. This is what you need to know. This is what you need to know. And I understand part of what the people that don't want it are saying, and I am in agreement with several of the things that they're pointing out, but I don't feel like scaring people to death, which is the tactics that I feel are underfoot right now, is the American way to do things. The American way to do things is, especially with all the knowledge and information that's available, bad and good, and that's going to be one of my points. I pulled up about 28 different things on Google. I also did it on DuckDuckGo, several different lines of information, and you can find just as many really bad things about solar power as you can good. However, some of them are very outdated. Most of them are from not our country. There's one picture or information where there's a bunch of white buildings with all these solar panels burning up on top of them. And whoever showed this to me, I said, that's Canada. And she goes, no, it's not. And I said, do you see the little cross with the thing around it? That's England. That's the Queen. That's Canada. This isn't Canada. We have completely different laws here. Thank you, Lord. I've been to Canada many times. I know how their politics work. Anyway, my bottom line is we need facts. We don't need everyone's opinion. We need facts. I have solar panels on my property. I've had them for about 9 years now. I have 15 of them. They were all built in Israel, not in China. The only dangerous substances, they're talking about all this lead. Well, every electronic piece that you people are looking at right now is welded, or I don't want to say welded, what's the other word? Soldered with lead because it's conductible. Same thing with solar panels. They have electricity running through them, so they're soldered with lead. Now, some of these other things I don't know. One person said, well, they're not recyclable. I'm begged to differ with you. I can pull up EPA. I can pull up a bunch of governmental things. Whether you trust them or not, that's your own opinion. See, I got a person shaking their head there. They are completely recyclable. They are like broken glass. And you all can laugh and smile, but I'm sorry you don't know what you're talking about.
Just speak to us, please.
Anyway,
I was gonna keep it simple.
I understand. I'm just saying they are renewable, completely renewable. I wait and bring up all my other negative information. I want the county to get something good out of this. I don't want to be doing it as a favor. I happen to know one of the people that's fighting for it that owns a lot of land. Now, I haven't seen him for a long time, but I plan on calling him and talking with him because he is a good long past associate of mine.
And that is, why would you want to come in here and destroy our beautiful land or put any of our people or our wildlife in danger? Also, the main thing that I didn't see in this article, and I thought it was in here before, and I think it's changed. There's been a couple things taken out. And I would like to know, and I'll wait till the 17th for the meeting, but I would like to know why they were taken out. Number one, that the county does not get paid for the energy that they make. Nobody gets something for nothing. Nobody. And they are totally included in that. So we need payment for each unit. And by a unit, I mean whatever stand, each stand is a unit. The other thing is that some of the safety measures, when we first started talking about this, the distances were way far apart, and all of a sudden they've gotten closer, 100 feet, 150 feet. And the smallest one that I remember everyone discussing was 500 feet, which is basic minimum. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time with that because we can discuss that at the zoning committee, with the zoning committee. But I really wanted to bring forth the good points of some new signage for Pleasanton. And as I said, we don't need a new logo. We already have a logo. And as far as shop locally, I would love to say that you could all the time, but I think every person in here knows that that is not true because we don't have everything we need to purchase available to us in Linn County. And I think that's something that needs to be worked on. The other thing that I wanted to say, and I almost hate to say it, but I don't, and that is I feel very embarrassed by a certain voted in person that has done nothing but say no and be negative ever since they were elected. And he ran on a platform of saving Linn County money. Well, so far, he's cost Linn County money, and he's cost valuable time. You guys only meet once a week. You only meet for a couple of hours. You're supposed to put a lot of time and work into it. I understand that. But to me, these mornings are very valuable for getting things accomplished, not griped about. And as far as this whole deal with you and your wife, that was all figured out before you were elected. Why are we talking about that again? It's kind of like, you know, things get brought up from the past, and there's many of us in Linn County that they're like, you can't accomplish anything when everybody's fighting and bickering like little kindergartners. We're adults. You can discuss things. You can disagree with people. I don't think it's humorous, but you can disagree with people and still get something accomplished. And that's the main reason I came here today, besides the sign, which I think would be a very positive thing to do in Linn County to bring some more people here. I did have one other question, and I don't know if any of you can answer me. I have been told many, many times that Linn County is the easiest and fastest place to live in Kansas and in Missouri if you want to get public aid, cell phones, very, very low rent, and child support from the government. And I've been told this by many, many people. I can't say it's fact because I don't know, but I certainly would like someone to find out about that. I guess what upsets me is that 30% of the people that live in Linn County, not even just Pleasanton, Linn County pay over 80% of the income taxes or the land taxes for this county. That's sad. That can't work. It's no wonder there's not money anywhere. That's all I'm going to say for today. I'm just kind of at a point where I am embarrassed, ashamed, and I want to do something about it. And I want people to understand that this is an awesome county and we can work and we can progress. The neutral business, whoever thought of that, Great job. We're supposed to, everybody sit still, never do any better, never increase anything, never increase wages. The jail is a perfect example of that. There isn't any other prisons around here that you can pay a sheriff to run a $3 million business a year and pay what he gets paid. And he's leaving, obviously. It's no secret, I don't think. But you guys are not going to be able to get anybody else for the pay that you pay him. And to me, it embarrasses me and it's shameful to me when you have a beautiful institution that's bringing so much money into this county and where that money's going. Where's it going? Is it going to pay for everything? I believe most of it should go to pay that off as much as possible. And then the rest to the people that take their life in their hand every day when they go in there to work with all the prisoners. And that's something that has never been discussed before. Yeah, they need to get paid more. They are taking a big chance walking into work every single day. And no one's ever discussed that. All I ever hear is, they can't get raises. We can't get raises. We can't afford to pay them that. Well, that's why there's so much turnover. And if you want to know, as a business owner myself, turnover is what costs you the most amount of money. No, I mean, period. There's no question about it. You can't get people to stay and be loyal to you and enjoy their jobs. You might as well go out of business. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time very much.
Thank you. Susan. So you say you're gonna get us that Linn County sign?
You bet.
Thank you.
I don't even know.
I want the real thing. I thought you were getting the real thing for us.
Oh, get you the signs? I thought maybe you need to.
That sign was printed in 2001. My daughter took this picture. I don't know if it's, I don't know if it had, I'm just telling you, it was on the phone book, like saying to the county in 2000, 2001.
It's a wonderful sign.
Where was it at?
Years. That's all I know about that.
Do you know where,
Simple, straight to the point.
where's it at, you know? Or, oh no, where was this sign?
Phone book, it's the same, she took the picture, all I know, that's, I was surprised to see that picture, but that was taken on phone.
I don't necessarily like the lines through it because it has a specialist in advertising. It's dry away from
Where was this sign at, you know?
I don't know.
There isn't one. I don't know.
This is just
Or it's old.
Oh.
I've never seen one.
I don't know, I probably have to take a lot, I thought I took that picture, but I don't know. That's all I know about that city.
Do you got anything else?
Nope.
Yeah, one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think that I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to move to remove Mike White from the Planning and Zoning Commission for conduct detrimental to Linn County.
How did,
The way he's handled himself in these public meetings that we've had here, I feel like he is undermining the authority of the zoning regs that he wrote. The process that he was put in to protect.
Give us an example of that, would you? What regulations did he undermine, Jason?
Our process that we came to those.
Give me an example of what he undermined.
Passing notes during the committee meeting, during our commissioner meeting.
Passing notes.
Yep. Speaking for the planning and zoning board.
I don't feel that I don't understand what you're saying, where he was talking about the planning and zoning board.
oh, I didn't think I was mad. But it doesn't obstruct. I like that. It's, is
I think he tries to bully the other commissioners on the planning and zoning board. I think we see it with his actions in here. That's why I think it's detrimental to Linn County. It's a position that is posted by us as the commissioners.
That's not even your district to decide.
You're right. I made a motion.
How would we go about that, Gary? Is it, I mean,
The, members of the planning and zoning board are appointed basically at the commissioner, they have a term, but they serve at the commissioner's pleasure. They can be removed by the commissioners. We have removed a member from time to time in the past. We being the commission, they've removed a member from time to time in the past.
I had got a phone call about that day that he told me to calm down. I guess I was mad that day, but that they want to know why he was speaking for the planning and zoning. So that was
You're not part of this.
what. Have you talked to the planning and zoning chairman or anything? I mean, have you,
I have.
Darren?
Yes.
Darren's not the chairman of the planning and zoning board, is he?
No, he's not.
During the staff member.
Right. He's not the chairman of the board.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant, has he talked to Darren too?
Not for his input, but just to gain facts.
I do feel that he does speak for the planning and zoning sometimes out of, but he shouldn't be. I got a few phone calls over the bullying thing too. I got one person call me anyway.
I've had multiple.
And we have those committees to kind of be there to be unbiased and give us, be open-minded and not be against us. I'll second your motion. Motion to move and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. Anybody else got anything? David, you got anything?
No.
Anybody got anything?
I don't.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion to move and second, all in favor?
Aye.